Inspire, connect, and enable the ecosystem of entrepreneurs. Welcome to Hubcast by Impact Hub Lagos, a podcast for the Nigerian innovator, changemaker, and entrepreneur. In each episode, we will bring to you exciting and inspiring content where we will share knowledge, insights, opportunities, and real innovative stories from the Impact Hub Lagos community. As the bloodline of our economies, entrepreneurs need to be supported and given every opportunity and resource to succeed. It is our mission to empower you from intention to impact.
One of the most important traits in a successful startup is adaptability. Over time, you'll face new competitors, and your existing competitors will launch new products and services to try and outcompete you. New technologies will emerge that could drastically change how your business operates, or even render your business obsolete. Market conditions will change, and consumer preferences will change with them. And as a result of this confluence of factors, even the best research business plan will quickly become irrelevant. If you're lucky, these changes won't have much of an effect on your core business model. You can continue operations as you have in the past and still make money. But more commonly, you have two real options. You can either adapt or watch your business fail. This week, we'll be discussing with Mr. Banji Ajilore, business advisor and certified management consultant. He's the managing partner of Pinnacle Business Solutions Limited, a Lagos-based business advisory firm, as well as an angel investor and member of Business Network International. We'll be exploring how to keep your startup team adaptable in Nigeria. Hello there! Welcome to the 13th episode of Hubcast by Impact Hub Lagos. My name is Anita, commercial support here at the Hub. And with me today, I have the very resourceful Mr. Banji Ajilore, business advisor and certified management consultant at Pinnacle Business Solutions Limited. Hi, Mr. Banji.
Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for having me on.
Great to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us as a guest today. Today we're discussing business adaptability as it relates to startups and entrepreneurship, particularly seeing as, we're still not in the middle of it, but we've just we've just gone through a pandemic, and then there's all this talk about business agility, business adaptability, sustainability, resilience, and all of that. But before we delve into today's topic, I'd like for you to please tell me a bit about yourself and the work that you've been engaged in over the last few years.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Anita, for having me. A bit about myself. I trained professionally as a lawyer, having studied law in Nigeria, and then decided to pursue a master's degree in international commercial law at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. Even though I knew that the legal profession is not particularly the future for me. However, so career-wise, I had focused on contracts and procurement, which was where I started my career from. And so I've done things around drafting, reviewing of contracts across different industries. I started off in the UK, working within the public sector, and then came into Nigeria to work in the oil and gas sector before pivoting even into the NGO space, right? So I've done things along contracting, procurement, commercial management, but That said, I'd also ventured into a few businesses along the line. I'd had to run a travel agency. I've had to run like an export business as well. But across this career and business endeavors, I realized that advisory seems to be where my passion really lies. And the pleasure of having to advise businesses took precedence much more and fulfillment for me. So that was what birthed Pinnacle Business Solutions in 2016, and here we are today.
Fantastic. And that is quite the story. You transitioning from law to a bit of work around contracting and procurement, and then eventually setting up these string of businesses, and finally Pinnacle Business Solutions Limited is here. So that shows that you've actually been, personally, you seem to be very, very adaptable. Right. Yeah.
I would say that.
Okay, great. So, with that being said, I'd like to find out, what's your view on business adaptability?
Well, personally, I think that adaptability is one of the most important skill you would need as a business owner. And why do I say that? Business is about risk and returns. Businesses is about being faced with the unexpected, really. And that's what entrepreneurship entails. And whether you like it or not, things will not go the way you expect. And if things go every time the way you expected, then you're a superhuman being. And you should even open a business doing that. That said, also, in view of globalization, new technologies, so there is a tendency for things to change in terms of trends and reaction. Last year being the year of the pandemic is a typical example. So my stand when it comes to business adaptability, I think is a must-have. It's a skill that any business owner or founder anywhere in the world should focus on building and, of course, developing, because of course it's in different measures.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I'm hearing that business adaptability, definitely it's a must-have. And of course, with the shifting times, new technologies, instances of occurrences like the pandemic, of course, that we've been through.
That's correct.
So would you say that Nigerian businesses practice adaptability?
From my experience, yes, to a large extent. Why do I say that? The Nigerian community or environment, as it were, the natural community in itself is, quote and unquote, characterized by a lot of frustrating factors. Lack of infrastructure being one. The ease of particularly doing business is not easy. So a whole lot of Nigerian businesses have to raise money through family and friends even though their circumstances are tough. So over time, can I say that Nigerian businesses practice adaptability? To a large extent, yes. Most of the startup businesses that you tend to see emerge today, the founders originally, more often than not, didn't start with those ideas. They started only to realize that this idea is probably not going to be sustainable over the next few years. And because you've been raised to be resilient in an environment like ours, it tends to affect the sort of attitude and the approach you have to business. We only wish that the infrastructure and some of those policies and other factors could be improved. However, I would say that most Nigerian business owners, to a significant extent, practice adaptability.
Great. And I completely agree with you. I mean, Nigerians, we're born hustlers.
Yes.
We're born hustlers, and of course, any which way, if we try to make the best out of every situation. And just like you said, there's no ease of doing business like that here. There's lack of infrastructure, so people try to work around that, and then to finance your business, looking for different sources of finance and all of that. And being that you're someone who has run several businesses in your journey through being adaptable and all of that, can you tell us or give us examples of a business adaptability move that you've made? A notable one that you think you made in your career or in your business? Yes.
Well, personally, I would say career-wise, I've definitely had to adapt from. Interestingly, when I started studying law, I realized in my year 2 or year 3 that this legal profession, it wasn't for me. So I was faced with the option to either quit or to continue and do something else. So you can imagine how you feel going to every of your remaining years knowing fully well that this is not the career for you. So I was quick to learn to adapt into what aspect of this career will I be able to make the most out of, considering where I would like to go. So if you think about my legal background and how I'd focused on contracts and commercial management purely, and procurement as well, and have landed into advising senior management team, advising on different contracts. That was what fueled my passion for advisory, which also then created the need to birth an advisory firm that would advise smaller businesses, that would advise small and growing businesses, which is what I'm doing with Pinnacle Business Solutions, which was incorporated in 2016. But also, notably, I'm also a co-founder to a business called Terrascope Integrated Services, which do boat rentals and beach house rentals. And that business idea started in 2020 when the whole world was shut down.
Wow. And
we realized that a lot of people could not travel out of the country. There was a lot of demands for what can we do for fun. My business partner then approached me, what can we do? And I thought, where are they going? Oh, they're going on the boats. Oh, can we get our own boats? Right. So we bought one, and then we sourced for boat owners, and we got 2 additional boats to make it 3, and then we entered into partnerships to get 3 additional ones to get 6 boats. And as I speak to you right now, we have a growing business that does boat rentals and beach house rentals, that it came out of the pandemic, and now it looks like something we're looking at scaling. So what we do at Terrascope is like we rent out boats and beach houses to premium customers exclusively, pretty much. And so in terms of adaptability in career and in business, that's how it has impacted my life, and it still does till date.
Impressive, super impressive. As in just finding out that in the middle of where people were still trying to figure out what's going on in the world and figuring out how whether they're moving forward with their businesses, you came up with an idea, and of course it's now gotten to the point that you're thinking of scaling it.
Yeah.
That's really, I would say that is definitely a perfect example of business adaptability. And of course, being that you advise several small business owners, and of course through your career in advising senior management and the rest, there's this quote that comes to mind. It's a Winston Churchill quote. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. I want to know, like, in your experience in advisory, would you say that this is the story of many successful entrepreneurs in Nigeria?
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Would I say that's the story of many successful businesses or entrepreneurs in Nigeria? Again, I would say yes. And why would I say that? I'd gone on a course with Harvard Business School, and one of the things I learned was that failure is deemed as an experiment and not necessarily an outcome, as it were. And what you find with many successful entrepreneurs in Nigeria name it. There is that grit, that ability to, that staying power, the courage, the determination against all odds. One, you are in an environment that is not particularly friendly towards growing businesses. Also, you are faced with the Herculean task of having to raise funding to birth that business idea. Come to think of it, for example, in 2021, in terms of funding raised in Africa, till date, there are about $3 billion that has been raised. 44% of that funds came to Nigeria, and that's the largest in Africa. I mean, considering the challenges that we are still currently being faced, the exposure to forex, foreign exchange, the exposure in terms of, I mean, think about all the things that could possibly go wrong in a country, yet we still manage to pull in that much weight, 44% of such an amount. So you would imagine that what would happen if the circumstances were a bit fairer or better. So without a doubt, many successful entrepreneurs in Nigeria, adaptability is a must-have. That grit has to be there. That courage to face the odds has to be there, and the determination to succeed against all odds. It is actually a necessity.
Fantastic. I agree with you. So the courage needs to be there. The grit needs to be there. You need to have that hunger to
Absolutely,
succeed.
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Banji. It's been an insightful and engaging conversation. But before we go, I'd just like to ask, do you have any final words of encouragement or to encourage adaptability for startups or entrepreneurs in Nigeria?
Yeah, what I would say is, as a founder, I think I would like to leave with some tips to becoming more adaptable, because I believe that being adaptable, take two, because I believe that being adaptable is actually the only option if you're to succeed as a founder. Tip number one, you have to see challenges as opportunities and failures as experiment. That would help your journey in entrepreneurship to a large extent. Secondly, you have to learn to focus on things that are within your control. What can you do about the microeconomy that is completely outside your control? What can you do about things that you cannot control? Your strength would strongly lies on things that are within your control. How do I prioritize this and the impact it would have on my career or my business? And also, I would say that from a business perspective, customers' feedback is a very useful indicator to being adaptable, because it's real, it's treasure, ability to hear what your customers are saying and listening to what they are not even saying. It's going to be very key. And as a follow-up to that, especially in this age of technology, there is a need for us founders and business owners to invest in research and development, to find out what's happening, what's the trend, what's the future in other climes that this has happened or this business is thrived. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? Bearing in mind the peculiarities of the business environment that we are in, which is in Nigeria or Africa, depending on the scope or the intention to scale. And finally, take a broader perspective. A long-term view to life or to your business changes your outlook. What would happen if this idea does not come to become the new reality in 5 years' time? What would I do? In 10 years' time, what would be the state of things in this business? Bearing in mind new technologies, bearing in mind a whole lot of things that might come as well. So that way, having a long-term vision, it will make tough situations or challenges less threatening, and it would make the journey a bit more navigable, so to speak. And those are the tips that I think as a founder, I would say in my career and as a business owner, has really, really helped me. I'm still open to a lot of learnings. It's still helping me. And summarily, I would definitely say that being adaptable is the most important quality in a founder, because the world evolves.
Amazing. Such very, very valuable tips there. I'm take two. Very, very valuable tips there. In fact, it's excellent the way you've put it all. And then to close out by saying that, of course, business adaptability, it's the most important thing, because the world keeps changing, things keep evolving, and you can only do well to evolve
with the world.
With the world. Thank you so much, Mr. Banji. Thank you once again.
It's such a pleasure.
Nice to have you here today, and thank you to all our listeners. I'm sure everyone who has listened in today has gained quite a lot from today's conversation, especially if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever sphere of influence you have. Of course, definitely this topic resonates with everyone. Of course, once again, my name is Anita, commercial support here at Impact Hub Lagos, and I've been speaking with Mr. Banji Ajilore. Until next time, stay inspired, keep connecting, and keep making impact.